see. They've got everybody trapped here.
Most protests in the present day are racially motivated. These protests are ramping up in intensity due to the violent police reactions to said protests, whether it be use of tear gas or mass arrests. A significant amount of these police-caused hate crimes are directed towards black people, showing extreme prejudice from members of our own government. These acts break what is called a social contract, an agreement between a government and its people. The problem of the social contract being broken is not something that can be fixed by a single person, but instead by everybody working together to advocate for change. In general, people who are not those who are currently suffering do eventually empathize with those in a lesser situation. However, this doesn't immediately happen anytime a new movement is established. An example of this is the first wave of the women's rights movement, where only a select few men participated in this movement. Later though, after everyone protested for this change together, things started to happen, and the women's rights movement started having more of an effect on the government.
Prejudice and discrimination are very easy scapegoats to use as an excuse to pull off crimes, and that kind of behavior can never fully be eradicated, only discouraged and outlawed. A very easy example of this argument to point out is the Civil Rights Act. Even with its enactment, acts of racism still continue to be committed by members of the very group whose job it is to protect us. The best solution in this case is to increase pressure on the government to make change happen. After all of the government's decisions are based on its moral compass and it looking good in front of other nations. Protesting has been a big help. Protesting is supposed to be the safest method for advocating change in our government. After all, it is a right protected without considering how much discrimination is deeply rooted in our society. An example of this is the civil rights movement. Increasing pressure on the government to make change will naturally force them to make change in order to appear civilized and fair in front of other countries around the world. This is a perfect example of the best way to make change in our government, still respecting the social laws and contracts that we have.
No violence or looting needed, just straight up peaceful protesting in order to make our voices heard. Protesting is simply a way to take action for what you think is right, and getting many others who agree with you to inspire change encourages the government to make said change themselves so long as it is within reason. By allowing our government to make changes that benefit the people become more trusting of the government, and the contract is restored.